fructose increases LPS movement from the guts into the blood. And there's one study that we have linked here in the show notes, and it's entitled, it's in the Journal of Hepatology, which is a very good journal. And it was actually published just a few months ago. Fructose promotes leaky gut endotoxemia. Endotoxemia is just a nice word for saying we have a lot of pathogens moving into the blood, and liver fibrosis. And there's more to it than that. The title gets a lot longer. This is published from a Korean group, again, in the Journal of Hepatology. And what they found in this study, that with fructose exposure on the cells or fructose consumption in the rodents, that the tight junctions became leaky. And now they had more of this movement of pathogen from the intestines and then into the bloodstream. Now, so that's kind of the simple side of it. And there actually is a lot, there are many more studies that highlight this. So fructose is a known cause of pathogen movement or leaky gut, moving from the guts into the bloodstream. And that might be why fructose contributes so readily to the development of liver problems, not only fatty liver disease, but also steatohepatitis, so inflammation of the liver, and fibrosis of the liver. Because not because the fructose, we typically think of fructose being relevant because it's coming to the liver and the liver has to metabolize it and it turns a lot of it into fat. That can certainly happen. But when we couple that with this information that fructose is also directly making the guts more leaky and exposing the liver more to these pro-inflammatory pathogens, well, then it just really is compounding the problem. It's adding fuel to the fire. When it comes to fats, it's a little more complicated. And there are different studies that have looked at this in different ways. One study that I want to highlight was very direct. They had these animals eating diets that were macronutrient matched, calorie matched, but it differed in the composition of the fats they were eating. One group of animals, and this is a study entitled Gut Mucosal Proteins and Bacteriome Are Shaped by the Saturation Index of Dietary Lipids. This is published in the journal Nutrients, a good journal, in 2019. And what they noted, in fact, I'll just read this section in the abstract. So I'm quoting, the corn oil diet, rich in omega-6 polyunsaturated fatty acids, increased the potential for pathobiont survival, so these harmful pathogens, and invasion in an inflamed, oxidized, and damaged gut, while saturated fatty acids, the demons of nutrition, promoted, that was my addition there, saturated fatty acids promoted compensatory inflammatory responses involved in tissue healing. So to sum that up, the diets that were high in polyunsaturated fatty acids, omega-6, so corn oil, that was promoting not only damage, physical damage to the intestines, but, and maybe as a result of that, actual enhancing the survival of harmful bacteria and then allowing them to leak in. In stark contrast, the saturated fats, while also appearing to promote an inflammatory response, was actually promoting an inflammatory response that was gearing the intestines for healing. It was because inflammation is intended to solve a problem. That's why we can never just wage outright war on inflammation. There's very much two sides to it. It serves a purpose. And in the case of the diet that was high in the milk fats, the saturated fats, it was in fact enhancing the integrity of the intestines. So a measured inflammation that was actually enhancing intestinal recovery.